Hi everyone, and welcome to the new episode of our Brown Bag Meetups. And I'm your host Alek Talipov. And today we've got our colleague Lucian Povaloy, who is a senior business analyst at EPAM Systems, and who will be giving a presentation on why you need to learn about Helium. And if you are new here, we are a blockchain professionals community. We are kind of a think space for blockchain engineers, blockchain professionals who are interested in blockchain as a concept, as a technology, and who are also interested in its early adoption. And we host such brown bag sessions twice a month. And we also have got many other interesting activities, such as podcasts, conferences. And the next big event is the blockchain hackathon we are planning to conduct in June next month. And if you want to learn more, please visit our website and check out our social media pages. And I will now invite Lucian to the stream. Just a second. And just to let you know, if you will have any questions, you can just leave them in the comment section below. Hi, Lucian. And we will try to answer your questions by the end of this session. Hi, Lucian, how are you?
Hi, hello. Thank you for asking. I'm fine. How about you?
Yes, thank you. I'm fine too. So we can see now your presentation. The stage is yours. Good luck.
Okay, thank you, Alec. Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to share some thoughts with you, and I really hope you will find them at least as interesting as I find them. So let's get going. Um, I'm gonna start by using a matrix code and say, let me tell you why you're here. So, are you thinking about connecting IoT devices for your business, or maybe you are already using IoT devices, but you have expensive cellular plans to keep the devices connected to a network? Well, or maybe you just want to make your IoT devices much cheaper or less power hungry? I'm here to tell you that there is a way to make a rational decision, and me and my colleagues from EPAM are more than happy to help. I need to mention, however, that everything we discuss today is only for entertainment and educational purposes only, as I'm no financial advisor, and you should always do your own research. So let's get going with the agenda for today's meeting. As you can see, there are a few topics. This list shouldn't be something new since it was already shared in the description of the events on all the social media channels. So, as Alec already mentioned, questions are to be expected, and please write them in the chat. And at the end, I will do our best, and my colleagues as well, to share them and the response with the best of our knowledge. Okay, we are living uh, in an increasingly interconnected world with about 5 billion people connected with each other via the internet. So we pay each other, we share data, we communicate within seconds, and everything seems great, right? Well, I hate to be the one pointing it out, but the truth is that we're not truly connected with each other. More likely, we're connected to centralized companies who we trust with everything we do. This is the reality most people live in. And today we're going to talk about why I believe that the future is a decentralized one and more focused, why Helium, a decentralized wireless network project, fits into that. Ask yourself real quick why decentralization matters. And to give you this answer, it matters because it's reducing the level of trust needed to place in each other, and significantly the ability of any centralized entity to exert authority or control over the network. One of the most well-known decentralized networks is Bitcoin, and this feature is the key reason why it's so valued in the crypto space. No single entity can stop you from transferring Bitcoin, for example, from one person to another. But before we start going that route, let's first talk about IoT, and it's short for Internet of Things. What are these? These are physical devices with sensors, processing ability, software, and any other technologies that connect and exchange data with other services and systems over the internet or any other networks. So it's important to understand that these devices don't need to be connected really to the public internet, but rather they need to be connected to a network that allows them to be reachable. The IoT industry is spending large amounts of money already, and the research paper shows that the Internet of Things is a 800 billion dollars industry with over 2 billion connected IoT devices already using cellular network in 2021. And that spending is predicted to reach nearly $1.6 trillion by the end of 2023. So that's huge amounts of money. In next few years, billions of devices will need a way to wirelessly connect to each other, to the internet or to some other network to function. And right now, connecting these things to cellular data, Wi-Fi, or Bluetooth are really not optimal because these options are either too expensive, too power hungry, or too limited in range. The reason why I am here today is to tell you that there is already a company with a project that tries to fix this, changing the rules of the game in its with its long-range wireless technology and secure blockchain for creating a network built by you, by me, calling it the People's Network. Ideally, I would have started this intro with taking a breath out of a helium balloon, but unfortunately, we don't have that on hand. So here comes helium. What we have here is a decentralized wireless network that enables devices anywhere in the world to wirelessly connect to the internet and geolocate themselves without the need for a power-hungry satellite location hardware or expensive cellular plans. Powering the Helium network is a blockchain with a native protocol incentivizing the two-sided marketplace between the coverage providers and the coverage consumers. And with the introduction of blockchain, Helium injects decentralization into an industry currently controlled by centralized network companies. This results in a wireless network coverage that becomes a commodity fueled by competition, available anywhere in the world at a fraction of the current cost. And for making that possible, Helium relies on individuals like you and me for setting up a hotspot. All you need really is a stable internet connection, a location for setting up the hotspot, and the hotspot itself. These hotspots supply a low bandwidth internet, also known as LoRa, long range, low power wireless technology that uses a license free wireless spectrum, much like the Wi Fi uses the 2.45 gigahertz frequencies. And these hotspots create a network over long range of to thousands of devices in exchange. And in exchange for building that network and providing connectivity as a service, these hotspots mine, as I will tell you a bit later, HNT, which is a cryptocurrency on the Helium network. As you can already see from the map, the network is huge already. It's getting close to 1 million hotspots worldwide, and the coverage is in about 60,000 cities and roughly 172 countries. This is actually an interesting fact about this is that even though the project ramped up in early 2013, when the Helium company started, they started producing both the hardware and the hotspots themselves. So the software and the hardware. So they created the so-called OG hotspots, which they quickly decided to switch back and focus more on the software development, the community, and the marketing side of the project, and let others deal with the headache of manufacturing the hotspots as long as they respect some rigorous specifications. Similar to other sharing economies like Airbnb, Uber, Lime, or you name it, the Helium blockchain brings two sides of the market together, as I previously mentioned. The hotspot owners are one side of them that are incentivized for deploying a global wireless network, the People's Network, and providing this connectivity in exchange for earning HNT. And on the demand side of the business, developers and other businesses benefit from the people's network affordability and ubiquitous connectivity for their IoT devices, from package trackers, pet trackers, vehicle trackers, or environmental sensors, or even healthcare monitoring solutions. All these devices now have a way to connect over long ranges. And it's the least to say that their batteries will also last more, and the costs are a lot cheaper comparing to other cellular alternatives. What you need to know is that there are two units of exchange on the Helium network. There's HNT and data credits. The HNT is the token that the miners earn, and it's listed on most of the well-known exchanges already. And the data credits are the only payment that are accepted to send data over the Helium network. The data credits users transfer bytes of data via the Helium long fi and use the blockchain transaction fees. Things I can mention real quick is that all the HNT were minted from Genesis, uh, started at a rate about 5 million HNT per month, with a halving at every 2 years, and the last one was in August last year. The max supply is 222 million HNT, and the distribution is almost equally between the network data transfers, the hotspots infrastructure, the Helium founders, investors, and other organizations that will manage the project's governments. Things you need to know about the consensus protocol in the Helium network are the following attributes. It is permissionless, so the nodes are able to freely participate in the Helium network. It is also extremely decentralized in nature, making no differences in regards to macroeconomic factors and without making any discriminations based on different geographies. The protocol is also tolerant to the Byzantine failure in such a way that the consensus can still be reached as long as the certain threshold of actors are acting honestly. It's also based on some useful work for a particular block that's being minted, has a high confirmation transaction rate, so the Helium network does not require lengthy settlement time like many other blockchains require. And lastly, its transactions are sensor resistant in a way that miners are not able to censor or pick and choose transactions prior to mining them. The earlier mentioned consensus attributes of the Helium network, the consensus protocol are captured around the POC, which is short for proof of coverage. This is a novel algorithm that verifies that all the hotspots are real and they are located where they say they are. This algorithm is a replacement actually for the proof of work that we're used with, and is a combined version of the Honey Badger BFT, a synchronous Byzantine fault tolerant protocol. I'm not gonna say much about the Honey Badger BFT protocol, as this is not really the scope, but I will just mention that this was initially presented in 2016 as a synchronous atomic broadcast protocol that's designed to achieve optimal asymptomatic efficiency. So really, what BFT does, it relies on a threshold encryption scheme that requires transactions to be encrypted using a shared public key, such that the consensus group must work together to decrypt it. This means that no individual node is able to decrypt or censor a particular transaction without colluding with the majority of the group. At the end of the day, this well may be the network of people, but if there weren't any people in it, if there wasn't a way to earn or to make it profitable. So right now, you can currently pick your device out of a list of around 33 approved makers, each on with their advantages or disadvantages. In theory, all of the devices should be the same on the inside, but the reality showed that some are missing some dashboards, some filters, some even try to gauge the system with different components. And Hotspots mainly split into two big categories. There are indoor ones and outdoor ones, and this refers to where it can be installed because an outdoor setup will require more effort, obviously, but eventually it will provide more rewards because it will have a better coverage. While installing an indoors hotspot will require a lower effort, being a matter of plug and play, where but the signal won't be ideal compared to the outdoor setup. So the first step is really simple. It's now onboarding setup. That it's something really easy to do. After that, the hotspot is connected and it adds itself to the blockchain and syncs with the latest blockchain height. You then get to discover what your hotspot name is, and that is usually something in the format of three words that gets to be a funny name in the end, and that's why you see some weird names maybe in the bottom right corner. This is going to be your easy to read unique hotspot identifier that will be synced with your account. All of the hotspots, as I mentioned, are the same hardware-wise. So the best one is the one that you have on your hand, at least until recently, because there have been some crazy waiting times. Like you could call yourself lucky if you got your hotspot within 6 months. Now nowadays maybe a year ago, if you were to ask yourself this question, it would be under a month. Right now, it's around 6 months or more for those who are curious about it. Okay. Next thing about the hotspots, and here we're talking about the setup. This is something also that needs to be mentioned. While most of the hotspots should be the same as I mentioned from the hardware perspective, there might be some that have advantages over others. So you want to go outdoors with it. Some also offer useful dashboards where you can control them or get statistics or debug them. But if you get sorry, if you can get past this, the only thing that you have to have in mind really are, or three actually, are location, location, location. An optimized setup is the best setup, and most of the times this means that having an outdoor setup in the highest point that you can mount it, or at least its antenna, one that can be upgraded and varies in different frequencies for different regions and different dBIs powers for different signal patterns depending on your location, then you can optimize it. Doing this is not always an easy task, but most of the times it's a rewarding task because you either gain knowledge for example, you get to learn about how to power a device via PoE, or learn about different cable types, signal losses, different antennas, or it can just be a rewarding task by simply having to look from the material perspective. Um, okay. What you need to know is also that the Helium network is greatly expanding, and so its community. Thanks to its decentralized nature and open source software, the community has a big say in the way the network grows. By putting up for voting HIPs, or how we call them, Helium improvement proposals, uh, such as the most recent one that limits the coverage, for example, to 100 kilometers for these hotspots to combat those who try to game the system. These are things that work in the favor of the community and the network to make it grow organic and not and to be based on facts actually and utility. Developers create more and more tools, for example, for the best use of the network. So more and more IoT devices then benefit from joining the network. At the end of the day, people, companies, and industries develop more suitable integrations with the help of the network. And I believe that this project is it's in beginning of the engineering, research, and design of the decentralized wireless network. This tight integration of real world hardware with a blockchain and a native token is a novel and valuable innovation that can be applied to any other kinds of networks and wireless physical layers. And I also believe that the future of blockchain is not about who has the most hashing power, for example, or access to the cheapest electricity, but about blockchains where mining proof is tied with with providing a valuable, verifiable service. So, to conclude this, I'm going to say that this is it, folks. Do you have any questions? Please let me know. Please reach out to us, EPAM, and let's discuss how we can help your business grow or benefit from the latest technology. You have my contacts there. You have my colleagues Alexandra contacts there as well, and some links to some resources that I found helpful during this presentation that I made. So keep the questions going.
Thank you so much, Lucian.
Thank you.
Just let me check the chat, the live chat on YouTube. I cannot see any questions. Please, if you have any questions, you can type them in, and we will have enough time to reply. Maybe you've got anything else to add to your presentation?
Uh, Not something that I have prepared, but maybe some interesting facts that I recently found out. So the latest news in the blockchain, in the Helium blockchain network, are that the a new HIP was voted and passed and already passed to integration phase, which is the so-called HIP for light hotspots. Thus far, hotspots required to when you get to sync them uh, at the first early days, your hotspot had to download, basically in brackets, the whole blockchain height. That would take a couple of days, and then it should all at all times be in the range of not less than 1,000 blocks, let's say. So that meant that at all times the basically the hardware of the device had to be loaded with the latest information. What happened recently is that they passed to this transition of light hotspots, which means two things. Means that essentially the hotspots don't need to have the most recent, and they only have to get the one time the most recent copy of the blockchain, and that's it. They stay on the market, on the network. They don't need to download additional data after that. So that means there will be impacts in the hotspots prices, because there will be less requirements for the hardware. Then it will also mean that the network will go smoother. At least that's what they are planning, because nowadays it's a mess with the initial integration. So there are interesting stuff that are happening that will power the network to grow bigger, and we will all benefit from that, because we won't have to rely, as I initially mentioned, on expensive cellular plans or Bluetooth or Wi-Fi plans for connecting our devices. We will have this with cheaper alternative with coverage almost everywhere, hopefully, that we can benefit from. I see examples in my hometown, like there are those small scooters from Lime, if you guys know about them. Those are connected to the Helium blockchain, and they are tracked on the map using the Helium blockchain, and yeah, it's working, it's there. And most likely, we as EPAM can help anyone's business that thinks that their business could benefit from integrating IoT devices with this blockchain.
Okay, I cannot see any questions still, but I think that
Yeah.
was a very clear presentation, Lucian. I think that was it for today. Thank you so much for coming and sharing. We will publish the recording on our YouTube channel and on our social media pages,
Yep.
and we'll see again. We'll host another brown bag sessions, another session next week with Erhan Saygı on VMware capabilities. And thank you so much, Lucian, once again, and have a great
Thank
day.
you.
Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Have a nice day, everyone. Bye bye.